Welcome to the deep dive. Today we're going to journey through um, a really fascinating set of stories from our source material. They're all connected. Isaac's birth, Hagar and Ishmael leaving, and then this treaty Abraham makes.
Yeah, exactly. These are pretty foundational narratives. And what we want to do is not just retell them, but really get under the surface, see what connects them, what they signified, maybe find some details you might not usually notice.
Okay, sounds good. Let's start with Isaac's birth. The source really frames this as, God fulfilling a promise made long ago to Sarah.
It says, the Lord kept his word, did for Sarah exactly what he had promised. And that emphasis on exactly and promised is key. This wasn't out of the blue.
Right, it was long awaited. So for Abraham and Sarah, after all that time, I mean, this must have felt huge. Personally, obviously, but maybe even more than that.
Oh, absolutely. Think about their age. The text makes a point of saying Isaac was born to Abraham in his old age, and crucially, at just the time God had said it would. It underlines how extraordinary this was. It's a sign.
A sign, yeah. And Abraham names him Isaac, then the circumcision on the 8th day, following the command. It shows this deep commitment. And Abraham being 100 years old, it's just, wow.
It really is almost unbelievable by natural standards.
So how did Sarah take it? I mean, after everything.
Well, her reaction is just wonderful, so human. She says, God has brought me laughter, and adds, all who hear about this will laugh with me. You feel the joy, but maybe also the sheer disbelief, you know?
Yeah, like, can this really be happening? And Isaac's name itself means he laughs, doesn't it?
It does, a constant reminder.
And she even says, who would have ever said to Abraham that Sarah would nurse a baby? It's like she's still trying to wrap her head around it. Yet I have given Abraham a son in his old age. It really hits home how usual this was back then.
Completely. It flew in the face of, well, everything they knew about biology and aging. It really stresses the idea of divine power overcoming natural limits.
Okay, so we have this incredible moment of joy, promise fulfilled, but then the mood shifts pretty fast, right?
Yeah.
At the weaning feast for Isaac.
It does. A sharp turn. The text says, Sarah sees Ishmael, Hagar's son, making fun of her son, Isaac.
Making fun. That phrase feels loaded. Could it be simple teasing or something else?
It's ambiguous, isn't it? Was Ishmael feeling threatened?
Yeah.
Was it more malicious? We don't know for sure, but Sarah's reaction is immediate and pretty severe.
Yeah, no kidding. She goes straight to Abraham and says, get rid of that slave woman and her son.
Whoa.
And then, he is not going to share the inheritance with my son Isaac. I won't have it. That's intense.
It's incredibly stark. From Sarah's viewpoint, maybe she felt she had to protect Isaac's future, the promise God made. Inheritance was everything. Ishmael, the firstborn, could be seen as, well, a rival.
Understandable, maybe, from her perspective, but tough. The text says Abraham was very upset because, Ishmael is his son too. You can feel his pain.
Absolutely. A terrible dilemma, torn between Sarah's demand, his love for Ishmael, and maybe the divine promise itself.
But then God steps in, right? Tells Abraham basically to listen to Sarah.
Yes. God says, do not be upset. Do whatever Sarah tells you, for Isaac is the son through whom your descendants will be counted. It clarifies the main line of descent.
So Isaac is the chosen one for that specific promise. But what about Ishmael? Is he just cast aside?
Well, crucially, no. God also says, but I will also make a nation of the descendants of Hagar's son because he is your son too. So there's a promise for Ishmael as well. He's not forgotten. His lineage matters.
Okay. That's important. So Abraham gets this divine instruction. Maybe it eases his conscience a bit or at least gives him direction, and he acts quickly.
Very quickly. The next morning, gives Hagar and Ishmael some food, a container of water, and sends them off into the wilderness of Beersheba. It's a really stark image.
Just set out into the desert, what would that have been like?
Extremely harsh. Survival would have been precarious. And the narrative drives that home. It says their water ran out. They were in serious trouble.
And this leads to that heart-wrenching scene. Hagar puts Ishmael under a bush because she can't bear to watch him die. She moves away and just weeps.
It's devastating. It shows her love, her complete despair. She feels utterly helpless. You really feel for her in that moment. It seems like the end.
But it isn't. Just like before, there's another intervention.
Exactly. God hears the boy crying. An angel appears to Hagar, asks what's wrong, tells her not to be afraid because God has heard Ishmael.
Wow. Imagine hearing that when you've lost all hope. What else does the angel say?
The angel repeats the promise. Go to him and comfort him, for I will make a great nation from his descendants. It's direct reassurance, confirming Ishmael has a future, just as God told Abraham.
And then the miracle of the well.
Yes. God opened Hagar's eyes, and she saw a well full of water. Just when they needed it most, divine provision. She fills the container, gives Ishmael a drink. They're saved.
It really emphasizes that theme of God providing, even in the toughest circumstances. Even when people are sent away, they aren't necessarily abandoned entirely.
Precisely. And the story quickly wraps up Ishmael's immediate future. God was with him. He grew up in the wilderness of Paran, became a skilled archer, and Hagar found him a wife from Egypt. His line continues, as promised.
So his story, though difficult, ends with that promise being kept.
Okay. Oh.
Now, just as we're processing all that family drama, the narrative shifts again. Abimelek shows up. He's the king of the Philistines, right?
Yes, Abimelek and Phicol, his army commander. They come to Abraham. It pulls the focus out from the family to the wider political scene.
And Abimelek says something pretty significant right off the bat.
He does. He says, God is obviously with you, helping you in everything you do. That's a powerful statement from a neighbor, a king, acknowledging Abraham's success and implicitly his power.
It really is.
Yeah.
So why is he there? What does he want?
He wants a treaty, an oath. He asks Abraham to swear loyalty, basically, promise not to deal falsely with him, his kids, or his land, reminding Abraham how he, Abimelek, had dealt fairly with him.
Seems like a smart move, politically. Trying to secure peace with a neighbor who's clearly doing well, maybe getting stronger.
Exactly. It's about stability, managing relationships in the region. A formal oath clarifies things, prevents future trouble.
And Abraham agrees. He says, I will swear an oath. So, treaty established.
Well, almost. Abraham immediately brings up a grievance. He says, but I want to lodge a complaint about a well that your servant seized. A well his own servants had dug.
Interesting timing. Right after agreeing to be loyal, he brings up this past issue. Why then?
It's quite strategic, I think. He's using the moment, the goodwill of making the treaty, to resolve this outstanding problem. He wants the new relationship based on fairness, addressing past wrongs. It's not just about water, it's the principle.
And Abimelek's response?
He claims ignorance. This is the first I've heard of it, he says, adding he doesn't know who did it. Plausible denial, maybe. Hard to say for sure.
Right, leaves it a bit ambiguous. So how does Abraham handle that? Does he push it?
He doesn't seem to argue about Abimelek's knowledge. Instead, he makes the treaty official by giving Abimelek sheep, goats, cattle, a formal exchange.
Okay, standard practice maybe. But then there's that extra bit, the 7 female lambs he sets aside separately.
Yes, that's peculiar. Abimelek even asks, what's the meaning of these 7 lambs?
And Abraham's explanation is?
He says they are a witness. By accepting them, Abimelek is acknowledging that Abraham dug the well. It's like tangible proof, sealing that specific point about the well's ownership.
Ah, so it's like adding a specific clause to the treaty marked by these lambs. Clever.
Very. And that's why the place gets named Beersheba, which we're told means well of the oath. The name itself commemorates the agreement, specifically tied to the well.
So the place becomes a permanent reminder. After the covenant is made, Abimelek and Phicol leave. And Abraham does something symbolic, too.
He does. He plants a tamarisk tree there at Beersheba and worships God. It kind of marks the place as his own, under God, a place of covenant. And the source notes he lived as a foreigner in that Philistine territory for a long time.
Which suggests the treaty held. Right. It allowed for a period of peaceful coexistence.
Seems that way, yes. It highlights the practical importance of that agreement.
Okay, so looking back at everything we've covered, it's quite a journey. From Isaac's miraculous birth, fulfilling that long promise.
Through the really difficult, painful departure of Hagar and Ishmael, but with that promise of their own future nation.
And ending with this strategic peace treaty, Abraham securing his place, even resolving disputes like the well.
Yeah, and when you lay it all out, you see these recurring themes, don't you? Promise and fulfillment are huge. The complexities of family, loyalty, conflict. It's all there. Divine intervention popping up at critical moments.
And also human agency. Making treaties, trying to establish order and peace, even amidst all the divine plans.
Definitely.
So here's something for you, the listener, to think about. When you consider these ancient stories, the way nations and relationships trace back, the mix of divine promise and human agreements, what lasting ideas jump out at you about how we navigate promises, conflicts, and the search for peace, even today?
It's a rich tapestry, for sure. Lots to mull over.
Indeed. Thanks for exploring this with us today.